DQ, yesterday we had your former teammate Phil Taylor on the show, and Phil does a podcast with BetJack, and I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but he told us a story about you. Steve, let's play it.
You got a good DeQuell story, by the way?
DeQuell?
Yeah, tell us about
He
DeQuell.
comes on with us every week. We love him.
Other than the fact that he's bald.
The first time the D-line, we got him, we let him smell our little smelling sauce before the game. You know the little ammonia pack?
Yeah.
We had about 20, 30 of them joints in like a water bottle.
Yeah.
And he didn't really know. Like he's like,
Oh, y'all dirty.
he hit that joint, fell over in his chair in the locker room. I was like, you better chill out.
Hey,
boy.
when your arms go limp to the side, and DeQuell was over there.
Oh yeah, he had a great game that day though.
That's a true story.
Did you know that was coming? You look like you knew what story was coming.
Oh yeah, there was a few. I'm glad he told the PG version of the story. Yeah. So what he did was, these got the D linemen. They would get a water bottle and they would wrap it with tape. So Phil and a bunch of guys. I see a bunch of guys just sniffing like the bottom. I'm like, what are y'all doing? He's like, you want to hit it? I'm like, all right, I guess. All right, whatever. And I'm thinking, I can hear them rattling around, but I don't think it's like 50 of the little ammonia tabs. Man, listen, when I sniffed that, I fell over like that. That shit surprised. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep cursing.
You're fine.
Like never again. I did go out and have a great game because I was well awake. I can tell you that, man. He got me.
And that clear your sinuses in a hurry.
Actually, to be truthful, I told him DeQuell actually had a low tight fade before he smelt it. He smelt that, he was bald the rest of the week. He just went with it.
Yeah, right. Oh man, yeah. Phil was a good guy, man. He was always the guy, man. He when he would turn it on, you couldn't block him. It was you had to motivate him. He was so talented, man. And then injuries obviously caught up with him, but he was one of the better D linemen I played behind for sure.
He is one large human being.
No, he is. He definitely is. He's definitely a guy that takes up a lot of space, and I appreciated the heck out of it when I played.
Yeah, we could use one just like him right now.
By the way, he said, like we were joking about like some of the players he played with and whatever. He said he loved Johnny Manziel.
Is that right? I mean, I'm sure he was a great teammate, but on the field he didn't give you much, but just foolishness. But you can't, 1 year of that, a few weeks of that, but like you can't depend on that guy. There's no way I could have been in the locker room with Johnny Manziel. He could have been. I'm sure he got along with everyone in the locker room, but when it comes down to it, you need to play. You need to show up on the field, man. He just didn't get it done. So you can't be my friend.
Before we move on to anything else, we talked about it on the air, but you weren't with us when we did. Congratulations on your wife. You're having a baby.
Oh, yes. I'm having a baby girl.
I'm telling you, you're having a baby.
Was another surprise I don't know about?
Like congratulations. You don't want nobody to congratulate you and you don't know what for. You be like, come on now.
She's doing pretty good, man. I tell everyone she's like a human generator. That woman doesn't slow down. We're trying to plan a trip a month before her due date. And
wow.
Yeah, the woman is incredible. She's doing well. And, it was around that time when she can't sleep all that good, but it doesn't stop that woman. So I appreciate it.
You're going to be a girl dad, right?
I will be a girl dad. I was wearing my shirt the other day. I should have wore it on air here, but I'm excited. So we'll complete the cycle. We got the boy to start it off and the girl to finish it up. No. And hopefully we're done. We're done.
Good for you. That's exactly what we did.
Is your son excited? Like, does he know yet? Like, what's he thinking about?
Yeah, he claims, he's giving us some baby names that we don't necessarily agree with right now. He's in the monster trucks, and he asked us the other day, can we name her Gravedigger? And I was like, that's not going to work, buddy.
That'd be a pretty awesome name, though.
That's awesome. Yo.
Yeah.
Diesel.
Maybe that could be her middle name.
No,
we're not. Gravedigger is no part of my little girl's name.
No, I think I'm going to change my son's middle name to Gravedigger. I like that.
Name Grave, last name Digger. Gravedigger Jackson.
Oh, man. He's doing well with it, but I'm sure when he realizes his mother isn't for him and that she has to divide her time up, it's going to get very tricky. Very tricky, very soon. We're ready for it, though.
Yeah.
What's the due date?
April 12th.
Awesome, man.
Nice.
Wow, we're getting close.
Man,
Then.
that's like tomorrow.
That's
Listen, the nursery's already put together. We had a stroller show up the other day, the wrong stroller. So I'm like, it's a stroller. Let's just keep it. No, it wasn't the right color, so we had to take it back. I'm like, all right.
Hey, you
one
got
of many
that.
differences between men and women.
She got that take it back. She looked at him like he was crazy. What you mean we ain't taking it back? No, you gonna
I
take
put
it
it
back.
all together, G. I had to box everything. I had to unfold it all and put it back in the box. But, it's our world. It's our world right now.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. Hey, thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Oh, great game. Great freaking game. I enjoyed. We had a few guests over the house, and after a while, you start doing the whole "hey, good to see you" type of thing. And then when I realized this was a really good game, I sat on the couch. I had me a drink. I wanted no parts of the conversation. I had to watch this game because it was that good. I thought, Jalen Hurts, man. If you had any doubts about him performing in the biggest stage, I thought he outplayed Patrick Mahomes, given the opportunity. But Philly is definitely going to be here to stay. And I've heard people talk about, whether or not he's a top 5 quarterback. Do you put him above Herbert? I think he's earned that right this year to get in that conversation in terms of the young, great talented throws we have in this game. So it was a great game.
Holding or not on that last
play. That's what I was going to ask you as a defensive guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the right call. I thought it was the right call. As a defensive guy, listen, the way I played the game, listen, I understood. I would scout guys to their jerseys. If I'm playing a team that has a dark jersey, I'm wearing dark gloves, and vice versa, because you can get away with the quick tugs. And, when you're in open field, you got to be mindful of where you are. And even Bradbury said it after the game. He said, listen, I thought I could get away with it. He tugged him, and that's all you need in today's game. But I don't think the game was won or lost based on that play. You got to look at Philly, fumbled, and it turned into a touchdown.
Right.
So many other instances throughout that game where, things could have gone a different way. But I thought it was a very close game, and they still had a chance to end at the very end. But you got to give your hats off to Patrick Mahomes and that offense, and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. The in-game adjustments, I think Dan Orlovsky, he actually broke it down beautifully in the red zone. Andy Reid, what he does best, he's able to in-game scout and self-scout and able to stress the defensive rules in order to have guys wide open in the Super Bowl. So I thought it was a brilliantly coached game. I thought the players played well. It was really entertaining. Something that hadn't been, the past Super Bowls hadn't been all that great, but this one by far was one that stands out for sure.
Real quick, do you think you got away with holds because of the color of your gloves? Because I've heard that come up before. Do you recall moments of like, oop, got away with that one? And
absolutely. Absolutely, because you got to put yourself in the mind of a ref. What stands out? And he's looking where I played, I would tell D lineman, hey, listen, if we're playing the Eagles, wear dark gloves because when you're holding, because I want you to hold so I can get around the block, so that guy doesn't get to the level. So I always had a hidden agenda behind it. But yeah, if you're a ref, it's easy to spot the discoloration of the glove and the jersey. It's just an easier read as opposed to him really being clear that it's a tug, it's a hold, or whatever it is. So guys do it around the league. I'm just amazed that guys tend to fall on what looks better as opposed to what gets the job done. And I was always
crazy.
Would bowl towards getting my job done as easy as possible.
Performance over fashion. I wanted to ask you about A.J. Brown and some comments he made after the game. During an interview, he actually uttered this phrase, which floored me. Yeah, when we kicked that field goal to go up 27-21, I kind of saw that it's possible we're going to lose this game.
What?
I was shocked that he said that. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow, that is surprising.
I couldn't believe it came out of his mouth.
There's no way you're thinking you're going to lose this game. At the very least, you gain momentum. You're adding points on the board.
Right.
This is.
But weren't you thinking that, DeQuell?
We were saying
Sorry
it
to cut you off.
No, it's okay for us to think it because Jay and
But
I
he didn't
said
have face on
I was
face on his
screaming,
defense.
go for
but
it.
I'm not on the field. I'm not on
Right.
the team. Like the last thing you want to think is.
So is there a difference when you're watching it at home and when you're a player on the field?
Oh, no doubt. When you're playing on the field, you're not thinking about any scenario where you're going to lose the game. I don't recall any scenario, even with the Browns for 8 years, that I thought
you lost all the games.
Yeah, we lost all the games, and every week we had to either it was fool's gold, obviously, but I had to trick my mind to think, hey, listen, we're in this until the clock strikes zero, no matter what the score is. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's the luxury of someone. Or I look at it, well, did he have confidence in his defense?
No.
That they can go out and stop Patrick Mahomes. I think it's more of an indictment there than anything.
Well, DeQuell, they might need to start putting this into the analytics. The way the rules is set up, it's almost impossible to stop a team in like the fourth quarter. If you get the ball within a minute, right, and a team, you up, right, it's almost impossible to stop these teams right now the way the rules are set up, because you got to think about how many different ways a drive can be extended.
Right.
Legal hands to the face. The holding penalty that's 5 yards, but you can have somebody
Plus
down.
The defense is tired by the end of the game.
They tired. It's 3rd and 17. You get a holding penalty for 5 yards. They get a fresh set of downs. It's almost and then defensive coordinators. If it was me, hey, listen.
They play scared.
If you want to throw a bomb and you get one-on-one coverage, so be it. But I'm bringing people. I mean, it almost seems like it's scripted, because the first play, they find somebody over the middle for 15 yards, 20 yards. I mean, why do coaches on the defensive end change their whole complexity? And have you ever been in a game where you're like, but we've been stopping them doing this the whole game. Why are we running this?
Yeah, coaches have tendencies just like teams do, and for all those reasons, coaches think about the what ifs, like what could possibly hurt us if we play man. They're worried about a PI or a tug in a jersey, things of that nature. So they tend to lean towards quarters in crucial moments of the game and different parts of the game, particularly in the red zone. So, you just gotta trust the guys that you have out there and say, you know what, and understand the pulse of your team. I've been on a few of those bad calls on the back end where we were dominating the team, and all of a sudden we want to take our foot off the pedal and play more coverage. And every quarterback in the NFL understands cover 4 and cover 3. You know exactly where to go with the football pre-snap based on the safety. So it made life a lot difficult. And I tell you, towards the back end of my career, I knew I was done, because there's been many times. I don't know if I talked about it on this show, but when I was in Indy, we had a situation where there was a team that was backed up. It was a 3rd and 25.
Oh,
and I thought it was a mistake by the defensive coordinator. He called man coverage. And when I called it, the DBs all just sighed, like, oh, my God. And I was like, wait. What do y'all want to call? What should we call? And I changed the call. Because for that reason, man coverage at 3rd and 25, if you grab, it's just too many issues that can come out of that. So we ended up changing the call, and I got cursed out when I got to the sideline, but we got off the call. I got called to the principal's office the next day, and I told him, I was like, listen, I'm out there on the field. If guys don't feel confident in the call, then I'm not going to do it all the time, but I had to do it at that moment because they would have lost respect for me and the defensive coordinator. So it's definitely happened. But I knew I was on my way out when I started changing calls.
Yeah, you was like, hey, I can't do this. See, you know too much. You know too much.
What happened on the play? You said you got off the field?
Yeah, we got so if you go back and check, they actually, if it was 3rd and 25, they gained 26 yards. And luckily for us, there was an offensive penalty.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, by the grace of God, we ended up getting off the field. And, I was justified somewhat.
It's funny. You said Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback before, and I'm thinking about it. It's like, to me, you got to do it 2 years before I put you in the top 5. But then I'm thinking about the top 5. Or Jalen Hurts was fine in 2021, but he wasn't a top 5 quarterback in 2021.
No.
And I'm thinking like, so we all know Patrick Mahomes is number 1. There's no debate. Yeah. I guess the argument for the rest of the top 5, you got Allen, you got Burrow. Now we add Hurts into the conversation, Herbert, Lamar Jackson. Is anybody else in that conversation, or is that it?
No, I think
Deshaun Watson gets there.
Well, you can't put him in right now. You can't put him in right now because he hasn't played at that level for 3 years.
If you think about it, 2 slots are open. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do if anybody had Aaron in the top 5, but with Tom Brady out, there's at least 1 spot that's open.
All right, so
But
I think the top three, it's Mahomes.
I don't think the top three, there's any quibble on all.
Well, yeah, Mahomes is in his own tier, and then Burrow and Allen are 2 and 3, however you want to argue.
Agreed.
And then I think there's 4 and 5 are open for debate.
Yep, I agree.
Well, I think it's. I would say 4, 5, and 6.
Well,
go ahead, DeQuell.
I would say this with Allen: if he comes out and he has a great regular season and he does nothing in the postseason, and Jalen Hurts continues to build on what he's doing. I mean, all these great quarterbacks are judged based on the big moments, and that's the playoffs. So I'm with you in that regard. I don't want to annoy him too much, but I think he deserves that consideration of listen, if Josh Allen, in my opinion, was like very slightly below Patrick Mahomes in the past year, he's kind of underachieved a bit. And obviously it's a team sport, but if he continues to underachieve and Jalen Hurts keeps adding on to what he's doing, I think it's a fair argument to make.
I agree. For me right now, I don't know what you guys think. I would have, obviously, Mahomes 1. I would have Burrow 2, Allen 3. I said I wouldn't put Hurts in the top 5, but I think I probably would put him at 4 right now.
Over Herbert.
I think I would because Herbert hasn't won a playoff game.
He hasn't won a playoff game, but my goodness, look at what he did in the playoff game this year. It was the defense and some of the coaching decisions.
I hear you, but
got him.
He still didn't score any points in the second half.
No, that hurt.
I mean, it's close. I mean, Herbert's got more of a track record, I think you can argue.
I
think Lamar Jackson has gone below those guys. Yeah. He hasn't done anything in the playoffs either.
No, he hasn't.
But if Jalen Hurts does it again next year, and if Allen does not in the playoffs, then I think you move him up. But I think Burrow's got. Maybe I'm biased, so you guys tell me. But I think Burrow's got to be 2 right now.
DQ, I got a question for you about what Bull just said and Hurts. You in a locker room in all positions, maybe quarterback's a little separate, but how quickly can you tell if a guy's a dude or if he's just a somebody? Like, is it an immediate thing?
Well, not so. I was wrong about like Joe Hayden, for instance. When Joe was in the first 3 weeks of his career, he was terrible. He couldn't guard anyone, and all of a sudden, it was like he had the mental, just toughness to get through it. And it was almost like a light switch went on. It's like, listen, I've been beat in every facet on this football field. I can only get better from here. And he turned the switch, and he ended up being one of the best cornerbacks I ever played with. So, but from a quarterback standpoint, or most, you can definitely tell whether or not you got a guy or not, for sure. One guy that stands out to me is from Notre Dame, quarterback. Oh my God, I can't.
Brady Quinn.
Brady Quinn looked the part. He said all the right things, but on the practice field, it was check down Charlie. He would not. You just knew he didn't have that secret sauce that Cleveland needed to get us over the hump. I mean, you can tell very, very quickly. But like I always tell people, Joe Hayden was that one guy who I was freaking wrong about. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be that guy, and he ended up turning into that guy.
Well, I'll tell you another one of your teammates that I don't know about in the locker room, but a teammate of yours that a lot of people in the media were dogging when he first started. I got this one right. I've gotten plenty wrong. I thought Brandon Weeden was going to be good. But this guy I thought was good right off the bat, but people were killing him in the media the first half of his rookie year, and it turned out he might have been a Hall of Famer had he stayed healthy. He certainly was an all-pro caliber player.
You say who it was? What a build-up.
Mitchell, what'd you say?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Josh Gordon.
Oh. No, well, he ruined his own career, but Mitchell Schwartz.
What a build-up.
Oh, yeah. No, Mitch was always Mitchell was always he followed to the tune of Joe Thomas, and I knew in the locker room, I was like, this guy, he's not going to wow you. He's not going to talk about what he does and all that good stuff. He's going to come to work with his hard hat on. He was going to be a steward at his position. And, man, he had a great career. Now, I didn't think he was going to go on to play and be as successful as he was, but I knew he was going to be a solid player, at least have a job in the league.
Did you know Trent Richardson wasn't no good?
Let me tell you a story. So I didn't. I thought when he came in, I mean, if you saw his legs up close, if you saw, when you turn that tape on throughout the course of a game, like it was hard to bring him down. And there was one guy in the locker room and I'll see if you guys can figure out who he is before I tell you his name. He was a DB from the Philadelphia Eagles. He was tenured. He had probably been 10 plus years in the league. And he was the first person to tell me, he was like, he isn't any good. I'm like, what? Are you serious? Yeah. Do you see this guy on the practice field? And he was adamant. When he was having great games, he was like, he's not good. And I don't know if you guys can think of it. He played DB for a very long time for the Philadelphia Eagles under Andy Reid. I'll tell you if you can't guess it.
It ain't Sante Samuel.
No, he wasn't here.
He was only here for maybe 2 years.
No, Dawkins wasn't here.
Sheldon Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Sheldon Brown. We used to fight every day about it. He's like, I'm like, dude, he is the next Jim Brown. He's like, dude, the guy's terrible. He's no good.
Why did he know that?
How do you know that?
And I was blind to it because he was always injured. And listen, we don't know if the guy was, we don't know to what extent, how much he had to deal with his injuries, but he saw the way he practiced. Listen, he didn't practice hard. And when he did practice, it was just through the motions. He didn't practice like a guy that had something to prove. And anytime you see that, it's a matter of time before when the ship sails, when you get injured, when all these other factors or contributing factors add to you not being on the field, you're going to fall hard. And that's just what happened, man. And I think he had some other issues off the field as well that he couldn't really.
What was funny is when I'll never forget Trent Richardson, after his rookie year, gets traded to the Colts for a first-round pick.
I was there with him.
What was that?
I was there with him when he got traded.
Oh, why you?
So I almost cursed again because it's so serious. Like this guy.
You can curse, by the way. You're allowed to curse.
Listen, Trent. I hope everything is I wish him the best, but he just didn't work hard, man. And he would miss me. We were getting ready to play a playoff game. I believe it was the AFC Championship game or the game before. And Saturdays before the game, we have a walkthrough. Everyone's geeked up, and Chuck Pagano brought out Ray Lewis to speak to us and all these different greats to motivate us. And this guy is nowhere to be found on Saturday. Nowhere to be found.
What you mean?
Nowhere to be found. Wow. To the point where, the top brass and ownership was like, hey, they got a bunch of us together. Hey, what should we do in this situation? Yeah. It was like, what do you mean? What should you do? Should we play him? Should he dress? I'm like, listen, the guy is clearly not taking this as serious as everyone else. We don't need him. Let someone else who wants to be on the field play. And we made a decision, and the coaches made a decision not to play him. And then from that moment, he was out. He was out the door, basically.
Yeah. When you mentioned Josh Gordon briefly, from being at training camp, from my perspective of watching Josh Gordon, it never looked to me that he was working hard in practice. Did I get that wrong?
No, he worked. He worked hard. He worked hard. Man. He got a bad rap because he had all these a big entourage behind him. But yeah, you're right, Jay. He made it look so easy. But when he practiced, he was unguardable. He was like, he made sure he came down with every catch.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, like if some off the field issues would have gotten addressed early on, he would have been a first ballot Hall of Fame. That's how much talent I thought he had. No doubt.
He had that set. We talked about this yesterday. He had that massive season. He played 14 games because, of course, he was suspended the first 2 games of the year.
Yeah, with 100 different quarterbacks.
Right. Who was quarterback? Was it Campbell and Whedon, I think, that year? I don't even know.
Derek Anderson?
Yards,
no, it wasn't Derek Anderson.
Hey, DeQuell, he's only one of 3 people that I call got that NyQuil ability. You know how you take NyQuil and it sneak up on you? You be like, this ain't even working. You be like this. Later. He had NyQuil speed where he would just be like, yeah, I'm walking away. And then he's gone. He's out of here. Yeah. Randy Moss used to do the same thing. You'd be like, he don't even look like he's running that fast.
Yeah, he made everything look easy, man. Everything look easy. And, he had a big entourage and I don't know what. He just couldn't stay focused. He couldn't stay focused long enough to reap all the benefits the NFL could provide for him. And it's unfortunate. I know he's playing, I think he's playing the CFL or XFL or something like that.
Yeah, he's still trying. I know you were on the defensive side, he was on the offensive side, but did you ever, as a team leader, try to put your arm around this guy and say, look, bro, the NFL stands for not for long if you can't get it together?
Yeah, Jay, that's a great question. All the time. And at the time, our head coach was Chud Chazinski.
Yeah.
And he would pull me out of a meeting and was like, listen, you got to talk to this guy. And literally, that was an ongoing thing with him. With me and him was like, listen, hey, listen, man, like have a plan. You can do whatever the heck you want to do in the off season. I don't care where you go. I don't care who you do. I don't care what you put in your body. I don't care. All I care about is from August to January, you give us your best shot. And how do we figure that out? What can we do to help you, maximize your potential? Because you can help all of us. Oh, trust me, I used to give him as much game as I thought I could give him to make it make sense for him to put his hard hat on and go to work every day so you can live comfortably for the rest of your life if you play 10 years. Yeah. He had that much ability, but it just didn't register at the time.
Did you ever think that you were making some ground with him and think, oh, he heard that message, we're good now? And then
Jay, he was very receptive. He was the nicest. He's probably one of the nicest, soft-spoken guys you will ever be around. It just he understood it. He was a smart guy. He's not a dumb guy. He's a smart guy. It's just he was more into his priorities were off. He was more into hanging out, being out. He would buy bottles at the club and wouldn't drink them. He would rather smoke. So it's like, why pop the bottles? Just for show. It was just misguided, man. Just he didn't have enough people in his corner to hold him accountable enough to fix that issue. So he's not chasing, what he's doing right now.
What could have been.